Ian Murray.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I'm delighted to be able to call to speak in this debate and follow the honourable gentleman from Stirling and indeed Aberdeen South, who in their speeches highlighted the problem that we've had in this House with the Government through the process of the EU Withdrawal Bill. And I think there should be an act of good faith this evening. The Government should accept the opposition front bench amendment to clause 11, and then if they require to alter that in the other place, then they are able to do so. Because one of the key things and one of the key problems we have with this bill now, and the honourable gentleman for Stirling and Aberdeen South failed to answer the question, is that their premise of altering this and amending this bill now is that when the negotiations are concluded through the JMC between the UK and Scottish governments, they will take the basis of that negotiated settlement to the other place and then make the appropriate amendments to the bill in the place and bring it back here. Now, if those negotiations fall apart, and I take them in good faith, but the Scottish Government, the UK Government, don't have a particularly good track record of cordial discussions, and it may be in one political interest of a political party of any colour to bring those negotiations down, then there wouldn't be an amendment by their argument in the other place, and therefore the bill would be unamended. Now, there would be no mechanism then for the honourable gentleman from Stirling or from Aberdeen South or indeed from East Renfrewshire who raised these issues to correct what they claim is a deficient clause. The honourable gentleman from Stirling says it's a deficient clause. Not fit for purpose was the words he's used this evening. The honourable gentleman from Aberdeen South said that he would like to see amendments brought to report stage. The honourable gentleman from East Renfrewshire abstained on the amendments to the clause previously because he was promised by the front bench that amendments would be brought forward. Now, the front bench, when making that promise, never said that we were dependent on the conclusions of a negotiated settlement, and indeed they didn't say that. The Scottish Conservative MPs didn't say that in their press remarks when they had an emergency meeting between the 12 Scottish Conservative MPs that excluded the Secretary of State for Scotland to discuss this very issue. This has been concocted to save their embarrassment, and I feel sorry for them on that basis. Now, they are again in the chamber this evening saying they won't vote for the opposition front bench amendment because they've been promised that amendment will come in the House of Lords. Well, if the amendment doesn't come in the other place, the 13 Scottish Conservative MPs that said that they would fight to amend this deficient, in their words, clause, there will be no mechanism to do that. The bill will come back unamended, we will have no powers to be able to change the bill, and a deficient, not fit for purpose clause, in their words, not mine, will then end up on the statute book. That is not acceptable for this elected House. I share in your frustration that the unelected House will now be given the responsibility of changing this bill. But let's just look at the technicalities of that. The Government have no majority in the other place, so technically the other place may vote down any Government amendment to this bill. It's unlikely, I admit, but the promises that have been given to the backbench Scottish Conservative MPs are merely that, and you've been let down already. The best way, as my honourable friend from Darlington said in her speech from the dispatch box, would be to vote for this amendment this evening, get the principle of amending Clause 11 on the face of the bill, and if alterations are then required in the other place at the conclusion of agreements, or indeed if the Government decides that they want to spend some time on this to conclude those amendments, then they can happen in the other place, be brought forward to this place, and then we can make those changes during the ping-pong. I can't understand why the Government haven't brought forward amendments to this report stage that were promised. We're asked always in this place to take the Government in good faith and see that those amendments would come forward, and on the basis of that, during the committee stage, I withdrew amendments, my honourable friends withdrew amendments, the backbench Scottish Conservative MP for East Renfrewshire withdrew his opposition and voted with the clause and with the bill on those promises, and those promises haven't been delivered. I have no faith in those promises from the Government. I have no faith that the Scottish Government and UK Government, given they play off against each other politically all the time, will come to an agreement that can be changed in the other place, and therefore I think the best way to resolve this evening would be for this House to come to a consensual agreement on amendment number 3 in the name of my right honourable friends in the opposition front bench, and then we can then say that the principle of changing clause 11 is on the face of the bill.